Okay, so I had decided that I would not be discussing the Brooke Schofield controversy because I just felt like it was very important in this moment that we gave the microphone to Black people for once so that they could have the space to discuss this issue that obviously entirely affects them. And that is the issue, of course, of racism, or to be more specific in this case, the pandemic of revolving doors of racist influencers being caught for doing racist acts, followed by very terrible apology videos, followed by slightly better apology videos that were written by public relations agencies, followed by swift forgiveness from their fan base, which is typically comprised of white people. And it's just created this recycling pattern that we've seen over and over and over again, where we as a society on social media continuously reward, at best, mediocrity, and at worst, prop up and give huge amounts of fame and influence to terrible human beings. The reason why I wanted to film this video is obviously not to take any attention away from the Black creators that have done an incredible job illustrating how deeply harmful these tweets are and why this is an incredibly important conversation that we need to have, despite the fact that these acts of racism happened many years ago. But the reason why I did want to speak about it is that I keep seeing the same comment being repeated over and over again, both in the comment section of Brooke's videos as well as videos of their own where there are people defending her, and they keep saying the same quote, which is, "They could never make me hate you, Brooke." I can't even express to you how frustrating this comment is and how idiotic I think it is and how terrifying it is that this is actually how people think. When a creator specifically is holding somebody of fame and power and influence accountable for the bad behavior and the actions that they did, they're not trying to cancel them. And it's narcissistic for you to say they're trying to make you hate that person. They don't care if you hate or you like that person. They're using their platform to express the fact that there are certain people that they would like to give their time, their money, and their energy to, and there are other people who they simply don't want to. And the way that some of you sort of treat these situations is like we're taking a human right away from Brooke. We're taking away her right to vote. Nobody's doing that. Having millions of followers is not something you're entitled to, and it's not something that is a right. It is a immense privilege that you have to continually earn. And if at any point in time your audience feels like you are not reflecting the amount of morality and responsibility that is required for you to have an audience of that size and for you to have this immense amount of influence, then it can be taken away from you. And that's just the reality of the situation that you have to accept, and you should accept that with humility because, again, it is not something that you're entitled to. It's not something anyone is entitled to. Let's be very clear. When you're making these types of comments of, "They can never make me hate you," you're not defending her because you actually believe in her innocence. You're defending her because you don't want to confront the actual reality of the fact that the person you have idolized, worshipped, and put on a pedestal may be deeply flawed. And by extension, your judgment might be too. So it's really about you protecting your own worldview and avoiding the cognitive dissonance that would be associated with someone like me or another creator possibly introducing new information to you that may make you look at this person that you've idolized and realize they may not be deserving of the platform and the love that you felt for them. So when you guys make comments like this, "They could never make me hate you, Brooke. They could never make me hate you, Mr. Beast," what you're really protecting is your own comfort zone, because mentally and psychologically, it is much easier for you to cling to the false image of the celebrity or the influencer you've created in your head than to confront the uncomfortable and messy truth that most of these people that you see online that you think you know, you simply do not, and the reality of who they are behind the scenes in some cases are just very different, and in some cases, like Mr. Beast, are downright terrifying. I really feel like the Brooke Schofield situation is much bigger than just one influencer because it says a lot about our society, who we choose to platform and who we allow to become famous. Because social media really is just a projection of our collective psyche and our collective belief system. So when we have these repeated instances of platforming and giving huge amounts of fame and influence to people who turn out to be awful people or racist or psychologically manipulative, at what point in time are we going to stop, pause, and say, let's have some checks and balances, apply some morality to the people that we allow to have platforms, and let's actually continue to hold people accountable, because that's really the only vehicle by which will have any progress if we don't hold anybody accountable. We'll just continue to revert in the same cyclical pattern, and then tomorrow there will be a new racist influencer. And in fact, there already is one, because Dixie D'Amelio just had her own video premiere yesterday where she quite literally screamed a racial slur. And then the only person on TikTok who I saw make a video about it, a very large news creator, uploaded the video, quickly deleted it, and when I asked him why he deleted it, he said because he didn't want a dogpile on Dixie D'Amelio because he felt bad. She's been going through a lot right now. Huh? And then this is how you see we have a system that's complicit in this racism, and because of that, the status quo will continue to perpetuate itself. And another example of that and ways in which we're all being manipulated is a lot of these news reporters that you see on TikTok are not actual journalists. They are primarily influencers who happen to cover the news. And with that comes a very heavy bias because, like any other influencer, there are rooms that they want access to. There are people in the industry that they don't want to piss off. And they are secretly friends with many influencers and celebrities behind the scenes, which results in them cherry picking stories that doesn't negatively affect them, but then it distorts reality because you miss out on incredibly important information. And a very recent example of this is Dylan Page, also known as News Daddy, refused to cover the Mr. Beast story unless he was discussing Ava Chris Tyson because that was one step removed from Mr. Beast. And then it wasn't until I messaged him and said that he was missing a very important element of the Mr. Beast story, which was the Beast Games, where people's lives were actually at stake. And then he finally covered it. But then when he did, he added in his own propaganda in the end where he said, but everybody, we need to just remember these are just allegations and Mr. Beast has done so much good, so let's all give him the benefit of the doubt. When he had never injected his own personal opinion in a story like that before. But the reality is Dylan Page is friends with Mr. Beast and is attempting to break into the YouTube space. So you're not going to intentionally piss off one of the most powerful people in the YouTube space when those are your career goals. And I'm honestly only calling him out specifically because I used to have a lot of respect for him. But if he does not post a video like tomorrow covering the most recent Mr. Beast allegations in which one of his previous employees provided very strong, arguably irrefutable evidence that he was subjected to psychological torture and sleep deprivation, which is considered a method of torture that is illegal by the United Nations, and it's peeps. Nobody's talking about it because nobody wants to address the reality that Mr. Beast is arguably insane. Honestly, if Dylan Page does not post a video at least reporting on this, I will no longer consider him a journalist, and I will encourage everybody to get our news elsewhere because he will no longer be an accurate source of information. Anyway, I went on a bit of a tangent there, but back to the Brooke Schofield controversy. I think to summarize, I just really want us to remember that when we make terrible people famous, we really are exposing our societal values, and it suggests deep down that our society still harbors some racist tendencies that need to be addressed at the root level. And until we have those deep conversations, we will continue to platform and give huge amounts of power and influence to people that don't deserve the power, don't have the responsibility to wield it respectfully, and deep down may be racist or overall not great people. So stop defending bad behavior and understand that we can and we should hold these influencers and celebrities to much higher standards than the average person. And just like regular people, their actions do have consequences. And using platforms like this to pressure them to have integrity or to be held accountable for their bad behavior is not hate. And you need to make a very clear distinction in your mind between hateful rhetoric and trying to make social media a better and more honest place. And of course, a less racist place as well, which starts by not giving platforms to people who simply don't deserve it.